A lot of players from that 64 championship team have given back to the university, but none more than the player you're about to meet. He was an assistant coach when the Huskies won the national title. He was the offensive coordinator in 1973. He was the athletic director for the Huskies, not once, but twice. And did I fail to mention that he's also an oral surgeon and was chief medical officer at the Dartmouth Hospital? Meet Dave Murphy, the starting quarterback for the team in 1964.
Wow. Thank you, Steve. Quite an introduction.
Why was that 64 team, A, as good as it was, and obviously as special as it was? What combination of factors made it a championship team?
Well, I think, first of all, you look at generational teams, and this was a generational team. When you went almost player to player, we were bigger than most. You know, you take our backfield. I mean, you had Darryl was 225, Paul was 215, Teddy Purnell, who was probably the fastest guy in the league, he still was going up 195. I was quarterback, 6'2", 205. And we went along the line. Stu O'Brien was bigger. Red was bigger. Because Frank Archambault, who was all-Canadian at both offense and defensive tackle, which is just absolutely amazing. But when it comes down to the very thing, what makes us different was Coach Hayes. He had a way of bringing us, and it was almost like close to a prison revolt. He would treat everybody equally, bad, make us do things that we really didn't think we could do because you would outdo your physical abilities to do them. And his favorite thing was, he says, you know what? A horse is more noble than you guys. A horse will run until it dies. You guys will pass out before it happens. And that was kind of the attitude that he had. And it was not pitted us against him, but it was us trying to get to the level that he wanted us to be. And we all bought in, and we all suffered the same play. Except for Puma, he kind of ducked out of stuff and got away with it.
This team as a group got together 25 years after winning the championship, 50 years, and now 60 years. Why? What's so special about this group of guys that they keep meeting every 60 years?
Because of that bond that you have. I think that most teams will go and you'll find that there is a bond because of the suffering and because of the highs and the lows that you go through in the course of a season. I once gave a speech in out west, and there were a number of Olympians there. And I said, would the former Olympians stand up? Well, right as soon as breakfast was over, I came up and there's no such thing as a former Olympian. If you're an Olympian, you're an Olympian life. Well, I've always adopted, there's no such thing as a former teammate. You're a teammate for life.
That's very special. There's no question about that. But there had to be something about that year that sticks in your mind. There are two games that I remember. Antigonish against St. FX. They were going into that game having won 47 games in a row. The Huskies beat them 9-8. Does that game stick in your mind?
Oh, for sure it does. Yeah, I mean, even Al Keith kicking the single to give us the win. It was, 47 games in a row. I don't care who you are. That does play on your mind. You know, like, wow, we're up against a really, really good team that have been very, very successful for a very long time. How do we overcome that? And I think it was through grit, through having that generational team, and just the love for one another. That everybody, we were way before Bill Belichick said everybody do his job, because we knew that everybody does his job, and you trusted that the guy next to you was going to do his job too. And we just brought that up and went out and played hard and won.
I mentioned the fact that you were an oral surgeon. Why did you go into that field after your getting your degree at St. Mary's? Why become an oral surgeon?
Well, it's really funny because I'm trying to look back at my life and everything. And I wanted to be a doctor since I was 9 years old. And I was brought up in the project. So we didn't have doctors other than public service doctors that would come in. And I always wanted, and I tried to analyze myself, and I can't figure out why, but I did. And so I was going along, and I was going to be a general surgeon. And then the person who lived across the street from my parents was an oral surgeon. And I sat with him. I went up. In fact, I saw my first major surgery with him before I ever saw a filling or anything. I never did any dentistry, but that he explained to me. He says, "Like, there's two ways of going. I mean, yeah, you can be a general surgeon. Yeah, I know you can do it, but your quality of life." I said, we don't have as much of an on-call that a general surgeon would have. There are different priorities and different surgeries that you can do, and you can actually have a better lifestyle for yourself. I don't think life would have been any worse if I was a general surgeon, but anyway, that's how I was sort of influenced by him.
There have been some great quarterbacks at St. Mary's that have put on the maroon and white and competed for the Huskies. Billy Robinson was probably the best passer of the football. Chris Flynn, obviously the best runner. But I don't think, as we look back at all those quarterbacks, there has been a smarter quarterback than Dave Murphy. You've heard that comment before, obviously. How does that sit with you?
Well, I'm fine. I think that probably was smarter too. I would put leadership in there too. It was a different era. So as a quarterback, as you know, they came up that we called our own plays. There was nothing coming in from the sidelines. So the studying that you did, the preparation that you did for that game was going to indicate on the score how the team did. And I took it very seriously. And that's the one thing that Hayes said about me that was half good. Yeah.
Dave, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Steve. That was great.